The content you're about to enjoy comes from the archives of The Best You. We're devoted to the very best in personal development, with a platform and resources dedicated to inspiring and changing people's lives. At The Best You, we work with the world's leading writers and trainers on the evolution of the self, and people whose journeys have been affected by their work and words. For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co. Johnson Beharry, of the 1st Battalion of the Princess of Wales Royal Regiment, is a British Army soldier who, on the 18th of March 2005, was awarded the Victoria Cross, the highest military decoration for valour in the British and Commonwealth Armed Forces, for twice saving members of his unit from being ambushed on the 1st of May and again on the 11th of June 2004 at Al-Marah in Iraq. He sustained serious head injuries in the latter engagement, and he is one of only 6 living recipients of the Victoria Cross, and the youngest. Now, the reason I wanted to interview him is because I just think that the armed forces are one of the most incredible things out there. I mean, we take them for granted, but these are people that give their life for our safety, for our security, for our countries. And to be able to interview someone who basically put their life on the line twice and was able to, come out on the other side was phenomenal. It was a great interview. He was there with all his medals, and I felt very, very humble to be able to interview him. I'm sure you're going to love it. Thank you so much. Hi, welcome to The Best You. And today it's a great honour to welcome Johnson Beharry. He was awarded the Victoria Cross in 2005. Hi, Johnson. Thank you for coming. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you came from.
Well, I'm originated from India. I'm 6th generation back from India on one side of my family. The other side of my family is from Africa. I can't give you detail on that because I don't know which part of Africa they came from. But after slavery, my ancestors was placed all over the Caribbean on plantation to plant sugarcane. So I born and grew up in Grenada in the Caribbean.
It would be safe to say, I suppose, that you didn't have an easy childhood.
No, I didn't. I didn't have the best, but I was pretty happy with what I had because I didn't know anything outside what was happening.
And at what age, more or less, did you move to the UK?
I moved to the UK in 1999. I was 19.
Between 19 and joining the army, can you tell us a little bit about what was your life like?
Life was amazing as a teenager. I was on holiday, spent my holiday, which I really enjoy. Then I decided to go college. Did maths and English in college, but that was not doing much for me because I was not earning any money. So I left college and started working full-time. Money was good. Started drinking, started smoking, started selling weed and enjoying life as a teenager.
Did you get into any trouble?
I was smart enough not to touch it.
Yeah, okay.
Although I was selling, I was not touching it.
Yeah, okay.
So, I don't have any criminal record in that sense. Otherwise, I would not have get into the army.
Yeah, okay. And you joined the army at the age of 21?
Yeah.
And it was the Princess Wales Royal. I mean, can you tell us how did that happen? Why did you...
Well, what really happened, one day I just looked at my life and I said to myself, why I'm doing this? What my grand would think of me knowing that I'm in a country where I could do something positive with my life. And this is what I'm doing. And what she would think of me, and I couldn't come up with an answer. I know she would not be impressed. So I decided I had to stop there and then. And I did stop, but I was still hanging around with my friends. They were still doing the same thing. Although I was not doing it, I was in the environment, and I realized that it was only a matter of time for they to get catch, and I end up in prison with them for not doing anything. So I had to take myself away from them. Taking myself away from them was the biggest decision I had to make. No one wanted to leave their friends behind. But although I had to take myself away from them, I didn't know where to go, who to turn to. The only option was to go back to Grenada. And one day on my way to work, I saw the advert in the papers for the army. So I said, right, I'm going to join the army. Not with no idea what the army is all about. I just wanted to get away. And the army was there, so I get dressed and I went in the recruiting office 6 weeks after that date. No, about 3 months after that day, I decided to stop everything.
Correct. You served in Kosovo, Northern Ireland, and Iraq.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
How was that? Obviously, completely different experiences. What was it like?
Kosovo was good. It was exciting. First deployment for me, I was everything I trained for. I was hoping to do it all day, but it was pretty easy. Peacekeeping, just more patrolling than anything else. Then I came back and I went to Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland was the worst place I've been. I couldn't compare Kosovo with Northern Ireland. And then Iraq popped up from nowhere. And I was excited to go. Because the job I did in Kosovo and Northern Ireland, I've been told that Iraq was going to be different. So I wanted to experience something different. Because every theater I've been to, theater meaning the country I go to, have been different. So I wanted again to experience something different. So I was excited to go.
And then in 2005, you were awarded the Victoria Cross for 2 acts of bravery. So, can you tell me a little bit about both situations and how that happened?
Well, I could tell you about one situation clearly as it happened and fall on the ground. The second one I can't remember. So the end of the first one, there's a 6 weeks gap as well. I can't tell you what happened between there. But I could mention what the guy said to me. Mm-hmm. But what happened on the 1st of May 2004, I was on QRF. QRF meant Quick Reaction Force with my platoon. Platoon of 27 to 30 soldiers. We had a foot patrol on the ground that all day patrolling on foot. So we knew that it was only a matter of time for something to happen because the environment was pretty hostile. So the commander decided that we're going to go between camp and the guys on the ground, halfway between, so that if anything happened, we could react quicker. So we went and we carried a VCP, vehicle checkpoint, halfway between the camp and the guys on the ground. And within about 12 minutes, we were tasked to assist them because someone been shot. We was given a proven route to get into the contact where the guys was. So I now was the lead driver of the pack. So I was leading the platoon into that contact to get a casualty out. On the way in, the route was blocked. So I stopped the vehicle and I said to the boss, what are we going to do now? Because I know I don't want to drive over that obstacle. He said to me, there is a alternative route on the left of me. Just take that route. We'll get back onto the proven route. Well, with no question asked, and I just carry on driving. And that route we take is more or less going wrong a huge roundabout, maybe about 100 meters in width, going wrong to come back onto the proven route. And I had a big explosion. I didn't know where it came from and where it went. So I called out to the boss and I said, boss, what happened? No response. So what I did, I moved forward about 3 to 7 meters just to get out of that line of fire if it was me, because I didn't know if it was me that get hit. And then it happened again. Again, I called out to the boss, no response. And that happened quite a few times. Before I realized that I had no communication with anyone in the vehicle. The vehicle was on fire and I ran out of space. End up now in the middle of an ambush with 7.6 to maybe 50 caliber rocket propelled grenade coming from all different directions. Rooftop, alleyways, you name it is coming. And I said to myself, I'm not going to die here. I'm going to get out and go into hardcover. And I saw my route out. To the right of me, I saw my route. Ahead, I could not have go because there was a huge wall blocking that road where I had to go forward. And then the route I had to take to get on back onto the proven route was blocked as well. But that's where I could have taken my hard cover. And I look at the vehicle, I look at where I had to go, and I said to myself again, I can't leave the guys behind. Because although I don't know if they're alive or if they're in the vehicle, I said to myself, I can't leave them behind. Because they all will die, because the vehicle will blow up at any point. So I decided to stay with them and try to drive the vehicle back to camp.
If you're interested in working with me, contributing to the magazine, maybe speaking at any of our many events around the world, partnering or licensing The Best You, go to www.thebestyou.co.
So what I do now, I try moving the wall in front of me. I was driving a Warrior, and the Warrior is just a smaller version to a tank. Huge power. I could move the wall. I could drive through this building on a normal day. But I could not have moved the wall because the engine was on fire and I was losing power, seriously losing power. So at that point, I was on the left-hand side of the wall. I decided now I'm going to turn the vehicle and go over to the right-hand side. Don't ask me why I did that, but I decided to. So I turned the vehicle over and I moved over to the right-hand side of the wall. But whilst I was doing that, I was actually scared. I was not scared of dying or being shot or being blown up. I was worried that the vehicle now been hit so many times and I don't know where the vehicle get hit. So by turning the vehicle, by locking one track and spinning the other one, too much tension on one track would actually cause me to lose the track if the track get hit. So that's what I was worried about. So I decided now to move up to the wall when I did get the vehicle to turn, and I pushed the wall from one end, pushed it open like a door, and I had enough space to drive the vehicle through. Still don't know if anyone is alive, and the vehicle is on fire. I started driving the vehicle through that entrance. Then I saw a mine sitting in the road. And again, I stopped because I knew what was going to happen if I drive over it. But then I said to myself, this mine is a 50-50. And what was happening was 100% because he was not stopping. But the only way I could get the vehicle out or get the rest of the platoon behind me out is to set off the mine. So I decided to drive over the mine. I knew when that mine go off, I was going to die. Because I was sitting next to the engine and then me, and the mine is right at the front. So what I decided to do is place the big lump of metal, the engine, over the mine. So the engine going to take most of the blast. Yes, I would get killed, but the guys at the back, I was hoping they was going to be okay. And the vehicle, the route would clear, the vehicle from behind would pick the guys up and carry on. Well, I went over the mine. Did it went off? I can't tell you. Because there was so much explosion. Now I'm driving down this huge open road. Again, I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I was going deeper into the killing zone. And in the distance, I saw something coming towards me. I didn't know what it was, but it was not moving away from me. I had the hatch open because my driver's tunnel, was full up of smoke from when the vehicle was burning. So I had the hatch open. I decided now I'm going to close the hatch because whatever was coming was not moving away from me. I pulled the hatch closed, and as soon as I pulled it closed, I didn't manage to lock it. It blew off in my hand. And I realized it was a rocky purple grenade coming directly at my head. So now I have no hatch cover, and this much sticking out to the enemy, still under heavy machine gun fire. And again, I didn't know where I was going, but I continued driving. I turned left, I turned right, still driving. And then I came to this building named Simic House, where we had a company of soldiers looking after this building. And I saw the rest of the company, and I was pretty happy. I was extremely happy to know I was not by myself. But because I had no communication, I could not have speak to anyone. So what I did, I drove my vehicle into someone else's vehicle to get their attention and asked for help. They said, okay. And I closed the hatchback. And I'm sitting there in the middle of the ambush, still under heavy machine gun fire. No one coming to help me. I was not sitting for long. I was only sitting for about 30 seconds, to maybe a minute tops. But that 30 seconds to a minute seems like
a long time.
3 days. The minute could be like a whole week. Because my brain was processing information 200 miles per hour. So everything around me was slow. And the best way to describe that, I actually saw that grenade coming at my head. I didn't know it was a grenade, but I saw it coming. And that's how quick my brain was processing information. I saw bullet traveling. In real life, you don't see bullet travel. You see trace of bullet. So that's why that 30 seconds to a minute seems so long. So now I'm speaking to myself. No one is coming to help me. what I'm doing sitting in the driver's seat. So I get out of the driver's seat and I lie in front of the vehicle to take cover so I don't get shot. I'm thinking, I need to get on top of the vehicle to make sure the two guys on the top is okay. But the vehicle was on fire, and the vehicle was under heavy machine gun fire as well. So I couldn't come up with no idea how I was going to get on top of the vehicle, which is about 6 feet in height, to check the guys without being burnt and without being shot. So I just went for it. I put my rifle on my back and I run up on top of the vehicle, run through the fire. First person I saw was my boss. He was unconscious, down inside the Terric in the gun. Pull him out, put him on my back, carry him down, carry him into safety through the fire, come back again. Did the same thing with the gunner, into safety. Then I went around the back of the vehicle. There was 4 guys in the back, individually carried them into safety. Then checked the other vehicles for casualty, get them into safety. And then I went back and sit in the burning vehicle.
This is while you're getting shot at and everything else.
Yeah, everything was still happening. The enemy was still shooting at me, and I don't know why they were shooting at me. I guess they wanted to kill me. I don't know. I can't say. All I know, they were shooting at me. So now I went back into the burning vehicle. People at that point might think I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. The reason why I went back into the burning vehicle, I didn't want the vehicle to end up in the enemy hands. And I was willing to drive the vehicle back under heavy machine gun fire and on fire as well, knowing that it was going to blow up any minute. I just didn't want the intelligence to end up in the enemy hands. I drove the vehicle for about 300 meters and I realized I couldn't make it. So then I drove it down the side of the river, down in the river bank on the side of Simic House, went again through the fire, disabled the weapon system, then go back through the driver's seat, disable the vehicle, and then I get myself into safety. Sit in the back of a vehicle, and the last thing I remember was someone saying to me, removing my helmet from my head and saying to me, Harry, stay with me. And they was pouring water on me. About 4 to 6 hours later, I wake up in camp when the med center was in, half of it get blown up. So that's the first contact. That's exactly how it happened on the ground and what happened to me. And that's actually the last thing I remember of Iraq.
And then the second encounter was afterwards?
The second one, well, I've been told that I asked not to come back to the UK because they was sending me back. And I didn't want to come back to the UK. I wanted to stay. But because I had a heat stroke and I damaged my spine, was shot in my head, 7.62, I didn't have it. I could not have stayed in Iraq. I had to come back, but I was determined. I didn't want to come back to the UK. I wanted to stay with the guys.
And you saved over 30, was it more than 30 of your comrades?
I would say I take the platoon with me, so that's, about 30 soldiers and physically carry a few out. But 6 weeks again after the first incident, the Camgay attack, that's what now I've been told I carry and walk in as normal. And the Camgay attack, we knew where the enemy was, so we went out looking for them. And on the way out again, I was leading the convoy of 4 vehicles this time, not 5. And again, I drove straight into an ambush. I must point out at this point, I don't like driving into ambush because it's not nice. But yeah, I drove into an ambush and a rocket propelled grenade was fired at my vehicle and detonated 6 inches from my face. I managed to reverse the vehicle out of the contact. Don't ask me how I did because I don't remember anything. But that time I was seriously injured. My whole head was smashed. I was unconscious for a very long time with less than 1% chance of survival.
What injuries did you have?
I had, see the scar on my head, 7.62, injured to my shoulder, rocket propelled grenade on my face, and a spinal injury.
To find out more about our latest projects, get a free coaching lesson, or download my book, go to www.bernardo-moya.com. Unbelievable. What can you tell me about those are your physical injuries, and I heard it took you obviously a long time to recover, but what about your psychological injuries?
Well, it's pretty difficult. Anyone that's been through what I've been through and survived it, well, I can't think of a second person, that's been through what I've been through and survived. And I wouldn't say I'm lucky. I think I'm blessed. I know I'm blessed to be here today, and recovery was a nightmare for me. It's been difficult. Had my operation where they rebuilt my forehead after I came out of the coma, rebuilt my eye socket. So all this here is all reconstructed. And so I've got a scar on my head. But the thing is, with me, I was the worst patient ever. Mm-hmm. And what made it worse is they used to take blood from me every day because because of the operation, I had a temperature where they could not have control. And then I saw them take too much blood. Or they take the blood and then they throw away what they didn't want. And I was weak. Not only weak, I was in a bed. I couldn't sit up. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't turn myself. I couldn't do anything. And them taking my blood and throw it away I was not having it. So that made me worse. So at that point, I stopped taking medication. I've got loads of mark on my hands, on my neck, where I used to pull out all the drips they had me on. So they couldn't monitor my temperature. They couldn't really look after me properly because I would not let them. Because I don't want no medication. And they can't do nothing to me. I'm just in the hospital. And because of the pain and the flashback and everything else that was happening, I was pretty stubborn. And I'm not lying to tell you, you would not want to be my doctor or my nurse.
No, I can see.
Because I was horrible to everyone. I came out of hospital eventually, which was amazing. I was happy to come out.
How long did that take?
Again, I can't give you time scale, because everything was ongoing from one to the next.
Okay.
And then I went into rehab, where I had to learn to walk, learn to speak, learn to eat, learn to do everything again. So more or less was like a kid again, trying to come to life. And I would not take any medication.
Wow.
But saying that, I couldn't find anything to help me. I could not find medication to help me. And what was happening, I think I was used as a guinea pig to try different things to see what would help. And I was not having it either. But when I was a little boy growing up, I grew up with my grandmother. And what I know is herbal medicine. That's what I know. If I have the cold, she will give me some bush to drink. If I have a pain, she'll rub it and maybe put some saffron on it. And my hand is swollen, she'll put a little bit of lard on it and rub it. So then I discovered that Vitabiotics was doing herbal medicine, like Neurozone, and which is brain food and different vitamins.
Nutrients and vitamins, yeah.
And I started taking it. And the Neurozone actually helped my brain quite a lot because I could not have remembered anything. And when I started taking the Neurozone and the other medicine combined together, not medicine, the other supplement that was given to me by Vitabiotics, I realized that my body now is getting actually stronger. My bones are getting stronger. I could do a lot more. I could walk a bit farther than what was happening before. And my brain was starting to process information a lot better than before. So even today, I still take it. I still take the stuff that Vitabiotics gave to me, the Neurozone and the other Wellman and other supplements that I get from them.
Okay. Well, you're obviously an inspiration. You've been an inspiration to many people. I mean, I've read your book and I think it's absolutely a phenomenal story. I mean, your whole life is a phenomenal story, and you're a very inspirational man. That's why I obviously wanted to meet you and interview you. But one of the things that I was very, I admire you for is a lot of the work that you're doing with schools and colleges and universities and cadets. And I know you spend a lot of time going out there and putting your message across. Can you explain to me a little bit what you do?
Well, how all this started out, I'm still serving, I'm still in the army, and I don't really have a job. I wouldn't say I don't really have a job. I would say the army would not let me do the job that I want to do, that I used to do anymore. So I went into recruiting, and being in recruiting, that kept me involved with working with teenagers, going on doing outreach in schools. And then the areas I was going in, I could see that is where I came from. That is my background. Only negative side of my life, drinking and smoking and things like that. I see that I could use that positive. starting to speak to teenagers and share my story with them, the negative side, and tell them why they shouldn't go down that route. Because I've been there. But again, life is not perfect. If they do, they could take themselves out of it. And when I started doing that, I see that, every school I've been to asked me to come back. I think, well, it's actually making a difference. And then the feedback I was getting from the teenagers themselves gave me huge inspiration to carry on, because some of them wrote to me and said to me, I make them look at life completely different, appreciate what they have, appreciate life more, and look at life on a different point of view. And I realized what I was doing was working, so I carried it on, and I was doing it within recruiting in the army. I do work with the police as well, the ISIS, Feltham young offenders as well. I go in and speak to inmates, and even do work with Crime Stoppers as well. So, I do quite a lot in the community, trying to use the negative side of my life, positive. And some people might say to me, well, you can't change the world. I know I can't. Or change the country. I know I can't. But the aim is to get my message to one person, and that one person could pass it on to the next person. And I know for sure that in a group of 15, and that's the last group I spoke to a couple of weeks ago, I get through to 4. And that's first-hand experience, speaking to them and get through to 4 and have 4 kids come back with me, and actually giving them some form of direction, helping them to go forward with their idea in life.
What do you think society needs more of? I mean, what do you think the problem with society is nowadays?
I think, we all need to spend more time and give teenagers more time. So more role models. Give teenagers more time. Give them things to do. Help them to go forward. Don't turn away back on them. I think, teenagers been deemed as alien, because everyone give up on them and don't have time for them. But if we don't have time for them, what we expect them to do?
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. I mean, part of what we want to do is obviously get the message out there. I think what the schools and universities need is more exemplars, more inspiring people, as you said, more people to model and people that you can learn from. So I admire very much what you're doing, and I think it's very important that there's more and more people like you going out there and sharing their experiences.
For me, I don't really see what I do because I love it, enjoy it so much, and I just day after day I'm doing it. But the next side to that now, I'm in the process now of setting up a foundation to take that to a different level. I'm taking it throughout the UK on a bigger scale, and to give teenagers more opportunity. I would like to, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that go to plan, and I could take it on to the Caribbean as well, and other parts of the country, and around the world. So that is the aim, setting up my charity to continue working with teenagers on all different aspects.
Well, it's a very honourable thing. I know you support loads of other charities as well, don't you?
Oh yeah, quite a few. I mean, I wouldn't sit here and start naming, but those that actually come to mind firsthand is Help for Heroes, Combat Stress, ABF, Headway, NSPCC. You name them, Great Ormond Street. Loads of different charities. I involved with and actually physically go in and do work with them.
Perfect. All right, well, thank you very much. And thank you for watching today, The Best You, and this amazing interview with Johnson Beharry. And looking forward to seeing you soon. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.